Welcome to the June 17th meeting of the Rotary Club of Jamestown. Will you please join me in the recital of the singing of the Star Spangled Banner and someone pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly revealed and the twilight's sweet, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous sky, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed. And the rockets spread glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you. Our invitation for today is from Sharon Hamilton.
Yesterday, Bob and I went up with our dog and walked around Chautauqua, which was the last Sunday before the opening of the Chautauqua season. So when I got home and saw a message from Ruth asking me to do my vocation, I went right to my Chautauqua Prayers book. And so I will be reading from there. Creator God, surprise us with your presence. Renew our sense of wonder. Give us energy and courage to live as your people in the world. In an incredibly insecure and uncertain world, we thank you, God, for the surprise of our own security and serenity, for the gift of our abundance, for the beauty that surrounds us. How do we say thank you? We are your blessed people, the gifted and strong. Open our hearts that we might surprise ourselves with generosity of spirit and boundless affection, even for those we do not know. We, who have the capacity to make dreams reality, grant us the courage to create a future of hope, not only for ourselves, but for those unknown to us. Let us live beyond the boundaries of limited imagination. Surprise us with your presence, O God. Renew our sense of wonder. Give us energy and courage to live as your people in this world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sharon. So, please welcome President-elect Marion Beckering.
Thank you. I'm here to welcome our two guests. This is the last time we will call Kathleen O'Reilly our guest. She will be invoked as a new member at the President's Dinner. Welcome, Kathleen. And we'd also like to welcome the Executive Director of the YWCA, Amanda Gesing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Marion. So, I put on the tables and I sent in with the program the proposed bylaws change for the membership of attendance in the bylaws, and it's a separate sheet. I included the existing bylaws and the future. So what happens is when we've been doing in the membership committee, welcoming Rotarians and talking about what we expect Rotarians of Rotarians. This is a service organization, and so there's an expectation that people will get involved in some way. And so but in our bylaws, it just said, oh, the bylaws pretty much literally say, the clubs get to choose how they track attendance. And you can use the Rotary International guidelines or not. And that doesn't help you and me figure out if we are meeting our responsibilities to Rotary. So the membership committee drafted bylaws revision, and it has also been approved by the board. And so I've included it, there's some sheets on the tables. It also was in this morning's announcement with the program. So no action is needed. If there are any comments people would have, if you would get them back in writing to myself, and we will take them up at the membership committee meeting. Because the bylaws need to be approved, any revisions, at our regular December annual meeting. So there won't be any action taken on this by the membership, but you will have a chance to vote then. We decide we should see and have a chance for feedback on that. Let's see. I received some emails today. And let's see, this one was of real interest to me and a little bit embarrassing that I didn't know this. So this is from Sarah Pori, who is district chairman of the Global Grants Initiative and district best club president for year 2017 and 18 from Rotary International. And he said, your Rotary Club of Jamestown was chartered on June 17, 1919, which is today. I didn't know that. Kids need to know. So your club completed 105 years of service today in Rotary, the District 7090, in serving the communities around the world. I would like to extend my warm wishes to you and to all of your club members on this joyous moment. Rotary is the only organization which has this global footprint and is working towards happy communities across the world with its noble initiatives. Thanks to our Rotary Club Foundation founder, Rotarian Paul Harris, we are able to make a difference in the communities where we live. Rotary clubs across the world execute service projects worth $2 billion each year in their communities. Rotarians give 25 million volunteer hours to their communities across the world every year. Thanks and regards, Sir Brewer. So that's that. I also didn't know. I received an email from about the strategic plan, and I don't know if this went to every Rotarian. Does anyone remember reading yesterday? It came out about the strategic plan and did every member get it, or just the officers? I'm trying to. Everybody got it? Okay, great. Then I just encourage you to participate in one of those virtual sessions so you can learn more about the Rotary District 7090 strategic plan. So any other announcements from committee chairs? I'm not seeing Max, but I think we should have an announcement from the golf committee. So the golf, you want to, Mary? I don't know. I'm just we need baskets for this. We have a raffle at the golf outings, and we're really excited about giving the golfers an opportunity to actually put their sub into a basket for something that they really would like. So we're asking you to sort of get creative and do different kinds of baskets. And I believe everyone received an email from Max about that, and with also a list of some ideas. So I got to thinking, I said, geez, I think I'm going to do a nature lovers basket. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to put into it, but it's something that I feel like I have friends that can help me put together this really good nature lovers basket. Interestingly, my brother gave me an idea. He's with the Rotary Club of Hilton Head Island. And so he offered they have something very similar going on. And he is offering, I forget what he said, but like hours of counseling on a computer, because he's a computer techie guy. And for those of us that have trouble just logging onto our email, when we have issues. So I'm hoping there'll be somebody in the club that might be wanting to offer that sort of a personal service at the Rotary, at the golf tournament. So they sort of think outside of the box of what you can do, but also look at the list that has been provided to you. So I don't know exactly our status, but we still needed golf teams last time. So please think about your friends and who might want to get together and be, maybe Kathy knows.
Well, I'd also say if you're sponsored, if you're a company sponsor, please send in your roster. I'm getting a lot of sponsor checks without the roster.
Okay, so Kathy is saying, please, 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 if you are a company sponsor, please send in your roster. And because she's getting sponsorships without the roster of golfers, and we need to know in advance who is actually going to be golfing. And we can set things up. Kathy, does that go to you or to Max?
Either one.
Either to you or to Max.
We keep
Okay.
Google.
You guys are Googled together at the end. Okay, very good. Any other announcements from committee chairs? I think Joni's standing up.
Today is the last day to get paid to go to the wonderful President's Dinner next week. Now, we'll give you a little loan, get you through, you need it. So at least tell me by 1 o'clock, look at me, I'm in the back of the room, pointing me to something. If you have not signed up already, and we'll get your money eventually. But I have to pay the whole shooting match today. So it'll be $2,000 goes out of the bank today for the dinner. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, this is the last 2 weeks you have to meet our foundation goals for Rotary.org to help with polio plus, the general annual fund, maternal health, water projects, all those things that we just heard about that Rotary does around the world. By June 30th, they close the books. And we even have a member of our club that's only $50 away from a Paul Harris film. So we called him up and I said, listen, do this, you'll get it. And he did. It's great. So you may not be that close, but you may not be that far. So help the club out, and we'd love to see every member give at least $25 every year to the Rotary Foundation. That gets our president an award too. Just so you know.
So much, Joni. And the last time I looked, our goal is for $8,000, and we were at $7,813. So we got less than $200 to go. So yeah, if you can help out with that, that would be great. Give your birthday donation early or something. But that also brings up the other icky money thing, and that is your dues. So please, can I? Yes, opportunity, yes. So please, if you can pay your dues, you should all have received an invoice. If you can do it in 2 payments, 2/3 now and 1/3 later, but we have to know before the end of this month who is committing to be a member next year and who is not. So even if you can't pay, same sort of thing. If you can't pay, but you are planning to remain as a member, please let either Joni or me know. And we will be making personal phone calls to people we haven't heard from. So please spare us that. Well, we would love to talk to you. This is fellowship month. We'd love to talk to every single member, but let's talk to you about something else besides paying your dues. Okay. All right. So it's time for 50-50. Where's Dan?
Okay, we have $22 to winner today. Okay, the winning ticket is 3823912. Three 3912. Got it.
For Doug Hunt.
Mark is donating, but his wedding's here because he has to leave early. Thank you, Mark. Not a lot of people to recognize this week that are in attendance, but I did notice on the newspaper, flag football division one honorable status. Okay.
Outstanding offensive.
Outstanding offensive and Division One honorable, yes, both. So that's $2. Come on. Okay. Now, we just got through one holiday and we have some others coming up. So what's the next major holiday? What's it got to do with? Juneteenth, okay. And what do they call that? Independence Day. It is the second Independence Day because of the Emancipation Proclamation that granted independence throughout the Confederate States. Yes. And protection, which subsequently became the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution. So, okay, I can't find anybody for that, but this Wednesday, let's remember Juneteenth. Then there was another article in the paper, seeing as how our revered and distinguished assemblyman was in the room, and accolades that his associates in Albany said on his behalf. Now, if they have another session, you could be too embarrassed to go back. Probably. But I'm sure everyone in the room, I wouldn't find you for that, but I'm sure everyone in the room wants to stand up and put some money in the bucket for appreciation for your service. And those who are coming up who might have happy bucks, stay up here. No.
I'm going to throw in $5 for the great company I had on Saturday morning with highway cleanup. There were a few of us, but brave, and it was wonderful weather, so we enjoyed our time getting together, Doug included. So thanks, Doug.
I'm gonna throw in $5. I have $1 for Andy, and as a board member for the YWCA, I'm gonna throw in $5 for Amanda being here. I'm gonna throw in a happy $1 for getting to move into my new house this week, and another one for being able to become a member next week.
My name, my wife, and my son believe in Chicago at the Rose Cottage, which was a stay that we bought at the auction. Rotary auction. We had a great time and found out that the girl that owns it was a question. So we had a nice time.
Oh, yeah.
My happy buck is I saw the top 5% of the JHS class. Yes, so that includes the captains and the Conroes. I noticed the Conroe name, so my happy buck is for that top 5% of the graduating seniors from Jamestown.
Okay, so my happy buck, I also have a happy buck for Juneteenth at Yasu and a weekend that was beautiful and lots of festivals and food and fun and dancing. And I'll also pay $1 for Amanda. I was trying to remember, the year I first met Amanda. We have had different jobs and traveled through the nonprofit sector in different ways. But I'm just so grateful thinking about how long we've been working together and how much we still have to do.
Well, thank you all for donating to Rotary, or for some of you. Obviously, I'm putting in $5 because I'm looking forward to being here with you on more Mondays and not driving the problem on a regular basis. We will be going back later this year to straighten out MTA financing because they want to figure out how to build $1 billion to people who don't use it so that they can continue to suffer massive losses without raising rates. But once we address that obvious issue, I look forward to being home with all of you and with my wife. Thank you.
I'm last, right, Brad, but no, I'm also here because, you know, I retired in January, but I do grant writing on the side, so if anybody needs any help, let me know.
Thank you, everybody. We have such a happy a bunch of people. So I'm going to call upon Deputy Captain to introduce our speaker for today.
I asked Amanda, now I know Amanda, and I asked her, I said, just give me some little bio. She said, really, you need one? And I thought, okay. So she did send me some degrees, but I want to tell you that 17 years ago, no, I'm sorry. Oh, am I not on the mic? 17 years ago, a young woman walked into my office and she applied for a mentoring position. That young woman had just moved to the Jamestown area. She lives in Lakewood. And after the first interview, we knew we wanted her and we knew we weren't going to let her go. She came into Striders and refined an okay mentoring program. She made it great. And she expanded to include school-based, community-based, and after-school mentoring. She eventually became the director of mentoring, and she went on to write local, state, and our federal grants. And the two of us had a wonderful trip to DC, trying to get home in a blizzard during the, what's that speech the president does in January? State of the Union. It was the only time we could safely walk from our hotel to the restaurant because there were so many police, FBI, CIA, whatever. Amanda left Striders in 2016. She went on then to become the director of 21st century programs for Jamestown Public Schools. In 2020, and she did that very well because I came back to Striders for a while and she was my boss of 21st century. She then left, and in 2020, she became the executive director of YWCA. Now, the one thing you should know about Amanda is that she mentors everyone. She mentored me for a time that she was at Striders. She taught me more than I ever did, especially about mentoring. But she's very inclusive and very involved with women and women issues. She gave me a little bit to read, that she wanted to say, but Amanda works to ensure the organization is committed internally and externally to the mission. She is responsible for overseeing all facets of the organization. She drives, I think she alone, with her board, drives that mission. She fundraises, the operations, board, community engagement, exuding a leadership style that motivates, and I will say, has fun with her staff. Thanks, now you made me lose my place. She creates an environment that is inclusive for everyone. Amanda is a proud graduate of Northern Kentucky University and proud to call Chicago County her home. When she's not working, she plays pickleball and snowboards with her husband Josh and their 3 boys. When we walked in, Joni said, "Thank you to Amanda for making the YWCA known to all of us." and putting the YW out there so we all know the YW is doing. So here's my friend.
That just teased me about having notes because I'm not one usually for notes or PowerPoints, but I actually did bring notes this time, so. I know, this makes me more nervous to have to know that I have to go off with the notes. Also, I prefer to walk. I'm kind of like a mover when I talk, so if I move too away from the microphone, just raise your hand. Go like this or something, and I'll. Whoa.
Look at that, I can move a little bit more.
But try to say, yeah, I won't move too much, but I just need to sway a little. I don't stand still very good, so. Thank you all for having me here today. Thank you, Deb, for that wonderful introduction. But for those of you who aren't aware, YWCA Jamestown is literally just the building on the other side of the parking lot, of the parking garage, right over there. So you probably pass it every Monday, if not more often than that. Our mission is to eliminate racism, empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. It's a big mission. And we are actually countywide. We provide programs throughout Chautauqua County. And we provide some in partnership with the YWCA Westfield and some independent. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we do before I move forward about IDA Coalition. So empowering women. We have many programs that help us to empower women. You may have seen a few of them, probably a Women of Achievement celebration coming up. On Facebook, you've probably seen us announce or talk about our recent nominees and winners. And Patricia was our winner last year, so she could certainly attest to the program that we have. And it really is just an opportunity for us to celebrate and uplift women and their accomplishments in our community. We also provide housing for women with children, and a supervised visitation program where we hope to de-escalate domestic violence by providing a safe space for families to have non-custodial visits with their children. We provide daycare and after-school programs that enable women to continue to work. We have youth leadership programs where we help young women develop their leadership skills, and an adult coaching program where we provide adult women with mentors to help them expand and grow their knowledge and skill sets. We also have an LGBTQIA and all-inclusive sexual health education program where we push into schools and community programs to help youth understand the power of their voice, the power to say no, the power to understand other people's perspectives, and about taking care of their own sexual health. In our Eliminating Racism portion of our program, we really have some wonderful programs that we've just developed, I would say, since 2020. We have our Bookmark program, which some of you may be familiar with, and Bookmark stands for book. And then Mark is motivating and aspiring readers for kindness. And we push into schools and provide wonderful reading, wonderful opportunities for students to see representation in books, and then to have a learning activity involved with that representation. And our goal there is to really just help students understand their own culture and celebrating other cultures and building connections with people who may look, live, and act differently than they do. We have our Reach Chautauqua program, Chautauqua Institution. Our broadcast, if you listen to WRFA, we still have our broadcast going strong, where we highlight our mission and the organizations in our community that help celebrate our mission. And we have additional educational programs for adults and organizations in our community. I would say the biggest piece of what we've been doing recently with our eliminating racism portion of our mission is our internal work. And what I want to say about that is that what we've been trying to do is ensuring that our programs are addressing that intersectionality of our mission. It's not just empowering women and eliminating racism. Those things intersect. And so what we're working really strongly on doing is making sure we're addressing that intersectionality and that all of our programs are inclusive, open, and inviting for all individuals in our community. Our goal is to reflect the community. So that means when our hiring practices, our goal is to make sure that our staff represent the community that we serve. If we have 17% Latinx community, then we want at least a 17% Latinx workforce in our building. And we continue to strive to make sure that we're doing that each day. Our goal is to also make sure our programs are representing that community.
So we're continuously looking at our programs and doing internal audits. Are we culturally competent? Are we reaching the communities that we need to reach? Are we speaking in the languages that they need us to speak in? Are we a place that they feel like they belong? Are we being inviting to individuals in our community? And every day we take a look at those things, and every day we evaluate how we're doing things internally, and every day we make adjustments. Because we know we're not always going to hit the mark, but we know we can continually strive to make sure we are. In addition to that, we recently took over the YWCA coalition of Chautauqua County. Now, this coalition is countywide, and thankfully was started by the United Way a few years ago. But in March, the YWCA Jamestown took over as the backbone organization for that coalition. Right before taking it over, the coalition formed 3 solutions teams. So the solutions teams focused on education, community events and activities, and jobs and employment. We didn't just develop those solution teams because that's what we thought were needed. We did do some community town halls and meetings throughout both Dunkirk and Jamestown, and really tried to listen to the community and what they felt were some barriers that were preventing people of color to feel like they were accepted in our community and felt like they belonged. And so those were the kind of the 3 key highlights that we took from those meetings and developed those solution teams in an effort to address those. So the committees have been meeting for maybe about a month and a half, I think. And right now, they're largely focused on supporting those groups and developing a place of belonging and inclusion. Right now, there are about 48 organizations who belong to the IDA coalition. But we know a couple of things. We know, one, they don't represent the community. They are not representative of the community. And so we know there's not enough diversity. And we have to be sure that we are a place of belonging and that we are welcoming those diverse voices as we move forward. So we have a saying in our office. We do things differently on purpose. And it's something that we have to remind ourselves constantly, because when you're treading water uphill or when you're making change is hard, and you'll get a lot of feedback about that change. And people have a lot of great ideas. People often wonder why you're not doing it the way that they think that you should, or the way that it's been done in the past. And so reminding ourselves that we do things differently on purpose is a way that we can help remind ourselves that sometimes we may be going in a different direction than what some people think that we should. That doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It's just different. And so that's what we're going to be doing with the IDA coalition as well. We recognize that right now our solution teams don't represent our community, and we'll be working on in the coming months to develop some possible solutions and activities to realign the groups to make sure that we are inclusive of diverse voices. A few things I've also learned in this work. Change takes time. And although our culture wants things to happen quickly, and white supremacy and middle-income culture will tell you that things need to be done urgently, we have to be intentional with how we move forward. To prevent us from falling into the same historical traps of the about us without us, or in this case, about them without them, we know we have to take our time and make sure that we align and bring the full community in before we move forward. We fully know and understand that and acknowledge that desire for urgency and the drive to come to solutions quickly. But we want to make sure that we don't move forward and leave those we are intending to support behind. Every day I learn something new when I do this work. I'm not an expert. No one in my office would tell you they're an expert. When you're talking about equity, inclusion, belonging, diversity, there's so many acronyms, and none of them really truly hit what needs to be done on the head. It really is, I think, to the core about trying to meet people where they are. And what can we do as individuals, organizations, companies, and just community members, to get to know people and meet them where they are and help them feel like they belong here. And ultimately, that's our goal at the YWCA. Anybody have any questions or?
Some people may not know how many employees you have. I don't think they understand the size of your organization.
We have a lot. I think I got it on. I did it. Sorry, Chris. We're actually a very large organization. So recently we just took over the YWCA, we just took over the Westfield After School program. So starting next September, we'll actually be managing the Westfield After School programs as well. So right now, currently, we have about 67 full and part-time employees, and over the summer, that generally bumps up to almost 80, or a little over 80. Next year, once we take on the Westfield program, we'll be in the 70s, typically year-round. So we're a very large organization. A lot of what drives that is the New York State mandated ratios for daycare and after-school programs. Aside from that, I feel like the rest of the staff is pretty bare bones. They're pretty committed, very committed to work, but we kind of do an all hands on deck when we have events and activities.
What's your budget and your fundraising?
Thanks, you've got some good questions. Our budget is about $2.8 million. It's not an easy lift. We have a wide variety of funding sources that help support our mission. We recently, last year or earlier this year, received a OVW federal grant for our supervised visitation program. So OVW is Office of Violence Against Women. And that federal grant was to enable us to be more intentional with providing domestic violence support for the women in our supervised visitation program. We have state funding that we received. We just recently received the state LEAPS funding for our after-school programs in Jamestown and Westfield. We also received a state grant for our comprehensive sexual health education program. That's all state funded. And we received generous amounts of funds from our local foundations, local United Way, as well as local donors. So, and then of course we have some that are parent pay fees, contracts from Jamestown Public Schools, and a few other varying things that come. Our fundraising goal is about $79,000 a year, is our goal that we hope to get. We recently started an annual Ask campaign where we ask donors to donate. We have our Women of Achievement fundraiser and our coolest night of the year that you guys always support so graciously. So those are our big fundraisers for the program as well. Sorry. Yeah, that's right.
I just would like to know, because there's a lot of agencies out there that are helping people, and I very rarely hear agencies talk about how they're helping the socioeconomically challenged people who are disabled.
We aim to be inclusive of all. Our housing program is actually ADA compliant. Our entire building is actually ADA compliant, but our housing program does have a handicap accessible shower, and we have had individuals up there that have been disabled. And we, and part of our inclusivity does include inclusion of those with various abilities.
So I'm curious, idea collection. Like, how do you guys work with organizations to improve racial discrimination and all of that is fine? From me coming from Nigeria, I see that people were deliberately put backwards. So you owe them that. It's not like you're trying to help. You understand what I'm saying? If we approach it on the aspect that we owe these people that were marginalized or historically put backwards, that will give a different perspective and approach to it. I've had personal experiences, businesses, organizations. I can tell you sincerely, people don't want to change. You see, there's much to, talking about it, doing this. People don't really want to change. So those are some of the things that I want to know how you guys walk about the issues. Because it is something touchy to me, because I experience it, I live with it. It's not even a matter of how successful. Even when you're successful, you still see, those disparities.
Yeah, we truly, I appreciate your feedback, and we understand, there's a lot of systemic issues, right? There are a lot of laws, policies that have been set in place, that have intentionally, at one time, been set up in order to prevent certain people from succeeding, and maybe even sometimes, a lot of times, unintentionally, continuously carried forward, right? So what we try to do is try to be, soft on people and hard on systems. So it's less about me going into an organization and saying, you are a racist. And it's more about me going in and saying, how can we develop policies, procedures, and practices that make this place more open and accepting to everyone, and help and stop preventing some people from succeeding just because of the color of their skin. And so that's the kind of approach that we do. I sometimes do the education. I'm not the expert in it. So, but we also have additional staff that are people of color that help to do that education as well. But what we also want to do is prevent putting people in positions where they're maybe the only woman of color in the room talking about racism. So a lot of times I'll come in and start that conversation to get the ball rolling, get people to a certain level of understanding of racism and systemic racism, and then I was able to kind of take them to that next level. But I want to make sure I answered your question. Did I answer it?
Getting the owners of businesses to work with you and approach it that way, I think it will yield more results. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so right now there are 48 organizations and nonprofits, businesses, and government entities that are part of the IDA coalition, and we have been strongly focusing on education. So we've been doing a lot of training on having difficult conversations at work. How do you talk with people from diverse backgrounds? Developing a place of belonging, and that's really what we've been focusing on, even within those solution teams right now, so that hopefully when we do start bringing in diverse voices, people are ready to hear them and accept them and pull them into that conversation. So.
I just wanted to add to your concerns. If everybody sees this yellow sheet on the back, it includes all of the organizations that have signed a pledge that they are committed to addressing issues of racism. And of course, our club is included on that list. So it starts with the commitment that there's an issue that they would like to address and that we are the richer for addressing it. So to your point, yes, it does require that people be committed to understanding that there's an issue, and then how do we move forward in a meaningful way. So to Amanda's point, there are 3 prongs in how we're approaching that based on what people in the community express as their concerns. So economic, as it relates to employment, community events, so that people are seen. And then the 3rd prong would be education. And our club is on the education and community event solution teams. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, and I just want to say that what we're learning, as a transplant here, I wasn't from this area, grew up in Kentucky. Everybody here is really nice. Sometimes Western New York nice is what I like to call it, but nice. They really do care about the community. I think it's just getting people to understand that we might have to do things a little differently. And change is hard. It doesn't always come easy, and it's certainly not going to come quick. But we have to approach this maybe differently than we've approached things in the past if we want a different result. But I think that the community has been very supportive. We have more than the organizations that are on there that want to join, and we're just kind of like, you got to put off a little bit because we have to restructure things a little bit. But I do think people see and notice that there needs to be a change, and really want to make those changes, not just so that they can diversify their workforce or make more money, but because they care about the community here and they can care about all the members here. Everybody in the community.
So one of Rotary's major international programs is the work to eradicate polio in the world. And in honor and thanks for your presentation today, our Rotary Club will donate in your name funds that will vaccinate 4 children who will never experience polio in their lives. So very good, thank you. And reminding you that June is Rotary Fellowship Month, so encourage you to stick around and speak with each other. And the theme for this year is create hope in the world. So let's all leave here thinking about how we can make this a more hopeful world. And I think Amanda's given us some ideas. And so let's repeat the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you so much for everyone for being here, and we are adjourned.
Thank you, Lou. Yes, you are.